Hey guys, Mike here. So boy, today in the market got a little bounce back, especially in one sector in particular, which we're going to focus on because of the setups into it, the resistance levels and everything. I will say happy holidays to everybody. I will not be doing a video tomorrow or on Christmas. I'm going to enjoy it with my friends and family and everything that's in town. So I hope you do the same. I'll be back on Thursday and Friday, or actually Thursday, and then we'll do Saturday's video. So just FYI on that. So I hope everybody gets all the gifts you want and everything, and enjoy it with your kids, especially if you have them. So we're going to get into what sector was pretty much on fire today, did really well, kind of helped really push the Qs up more than anything else, as well as a few other things coming up here. And when you look, obviously we had data come out this morning, but what continues to push, the 10-year yield. I get more questions about small cap than any other for some odd reason, I guess because it's very popular. But again, what's it doing now? It's turning resistance into support, which is not a good thing if you're all about small caps or wanting IWM to run or wanting TLT to run and all that fun stuff. And so again, you got yield curves uninverted now, both of them are. And so this continuing to push. There's a lot of, like Goldman Sachs and others are saying it's going to 6%. I mean, who knows that's going to happen. But you can see as this thing's been going up, what have they been flooding into? QQQ, Mag 7, this kind of stuff, right? What have they not been flooding into? IWM. And so it was red all day today. You saw a few pops here and there. I'll show you exactly what I'm looking for on this one. And when it comes to IWM, it's one simple thing. Get above the FOMC anchor VWAP and stay, right? Retest it, bounce, and go. That's what you got to get through. Forget anything else at this point in time. If you want upside, you got to get through that and be able to stay. You see multiple rejections. All right. And so that one's just struggling like crazy, especially as they keep moving into the heavier weighted stocks right now. When you look at QQQ, for example, you can see the exact opposite. This one is above what? The FOMC anchored VWAP, right? It was resistance. Now it's kind of turning all of them into support and decide to move higher. On this one, though, you got to get above, I believe it's 525 on here when you're looking at this right here. You know, when you pull up here, where did it get rejected at? Golden pocket, where it got rejected at. But you need to get above that level right there, which is 524.96. So we'll say 525. How about that? To continue this move higher. And you can see this. We have seen multiple low volume melt ups. Today, that's what that was. It's really just a grind, right? Up almost all day for the QQQ because they were going into especially semis and the other Mag 7s and stuff. And so, you know, that's one thing about that one. Again, when you're looking at these smaller time frames here, we're going to pull up NQ, for example. I'll show you how volatile this thing was. When the futures opened up last night, we gapped up and it was like, okay, cool. I guess it's going to be a green day. But of course, as we went to sleep, they started to sell it down. And so you're talking about a 0.87% move up. Come 1 o'clock in the morning, they said no thank you. Sold this thing down. Sold it all the way through the open, as a matter of fact, down 1.3%, I believe it is. Yeah, and then here comes this grind all day long, up 1.4% until finally everything came into resistance at the end of the day, and we started selling down. And so, you know, when you look over here at the stocks like Tesla, for example, this one is still holding the trend line, still very popular. I didn't get any indications of a lot of options flowing to this one today. It was more like about Nvidia, which I'll show you. But this one, again, it's not above the anchor VWAP for the FOMC either. It's got multiple rejections. And the question is, it and Nvidia did move today. Can they have multiple days? Well, let's get above that first. All right, it's very simple. It's not a major level or anything. And so you need to start clearing really 450 for this one to really start to move up. But let's get past that first. But the fact it's holding that trend line is not a bad thing, okay? It did and still never has gotten a 0.5 fib retracement. So, you know, if we start this melt up, Tesla is most likely going to be included. Nvidia, though, of course, what was going on with it? Look at this. We talked about it. I believe it was on yesterday's video. You know, broke out here, moved up, but again, what's it got to get past? 140, 42, I think is really to be exact. 140.23, somewhere in there. Got to get above and close above that. That's just the way it is. You can come up here all you want, but if you're getting rejected, doesn't really matter, okay? And I can tell you right now, what was pushing it, finally, you finally see some positive options flows today, right? About 33 million in bullish call flows during intraday versus only 1 million in puts sold. And so that was a good thing. And that 140 January 17th call, man, I told you about it like last week. Almost every day I've told you about it. It was just getting lit up like all day long, just millions of dollars worth. but they didn't want to let it above 140. Okay, now you see, still talking about this head and shoulders. I mean, you know, is it negated? Sure, most people are going to say sure, and it could be, no doubt about that. But you know, you've seen how quickly this market can flip. This sector alone was just on fire today. Like a lot of them were up that had been, you know, either beat down, held down, whatever you want to call, abused. But a lot of them were up. I'm going to go through a few of them today. And so as long as it can stay above this trend line right here in this area, and it can get above that 140 right there, 140, we'll say 140.50, and a back tail would be great to start moving higher. Of course, when you look at this, where did it get stopped at? 0.5 fib. So it retraced up to the 0.5 fib, and that's where it got halted. So it has to break through that. If it can break through that, look for that golden pocket above around 144 right in there for the next move. But of course, you know, we look over at this chart right here, and you can see what's it above? The 21 EMA. Some people like to use the 20. You have multiple rejections. It did close above that. That is another good thing. The real question on this one is, you can see if I scroll back, it tends to respect the 21 or the 20, whichever one you feel great about. You know, you'll see most of them getting a lot of bounces. But the question is, can Tesla and it move more than one day? Can you have 2 days? Can you get 3 days? Like, that would be nice, because, you know, or the fact that Tesla's going to move down, that means Nvidia is moving up. One of the two. But it's just rare to see them both move together. I think I've proven that. AVGO, this is another one. Key level, 232. Got to get above it. Got to hold it. Got to close above it. As soon as a lot of these came into it, the 140 not happening, the 232 and AVGO not happening, started retreating. Okay, and so that is key to this one right here. One of the members pointed or posted a chart about an inverse head and shoulders. When you look at it, you can see right here, yes, it is on the hourly, I believe, right there. And so you see the target for it, 250. This is just another one that is setting up, right? If it can break through that. But again, you have to break through these certain levels. So 140.50 on Nvidia, 232 on AVGO here. You're going to see another one here I'm going to show for you. And then a couple ETFs that depend on these stocks, okay? And so if these break out, then those ETFs are going to go to the moon. AMD finally got some love. You know, you look at this right here, but let's be real. I mean, this is, I'm going to show you this. It filled this 1 hour fair value gap to the penny. That's when it didn't go any farther and came into resistance right there. But the truth is, you start pulling up momentum indicator in this thing, and you can see it was well overdue for a bounce. Okay, on the daily, here you are oversold. Finally get some love. It's back up in that shaded area. So this one was definitely due. It's not oversold on the weekly, which is a good thing. You see right there. But it can continue to go down, right? But the truth is, on this one, I mean, if you draw a trend line on it, until you're above this trend line right here, then, you know, it's all for nothing. I mean, you got to get above it. I mean, you can see how long it held that trend line coming up, and then finally broke down and had a big breakdown. So again, we'll see if it can get through this shaded area, hold the shaded area, break above this trend line. Again, you pull the MACD up. Hadn't got a bullish MACD cross yet. That would help on the daily for sure. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But again, it was just this sector. I think it was up 5% today, if I'm not mistaken. At one point in time, it was like really the leader of it, which is kind of surprising. But, you know, this is just one of those things. We'll see if it's more than just a dead cat bounce, more than an oversold bounce. And of course, you look at SOX. There's another thing to let us know if the sector is getting money rotated into it. SOX versus SPY. I've showed you this before. And when we pull it up, we can clearly see that when I showed you this before, it was like, oh, that's a breakout. And I said, no, let's see if we really get a true breakout. And it came back down, right? It filled this gap right here. You can chart these as like can stocks and got this bounce. But again, I need to see it back above that first green candle that was above that trend line to really show me that money's truly flowing back into the semiconductors, right? They let all forever, 2023, 2024. And so it took a breather off, and you know, we got to see if that's the case. Okay, now if IWM stays weak, that could absolutely be the case. You can see the money flow in there. You look at SOX versus the Qs, same thing. Okay, so it seems like it's starting to try to make a move up, and when you pull up the SOX ETF over, and you can see it's not going to move. And this one we'll talk about. This one has a lot harder time moving than SMH, which we'll talk about. And I showed you before, and I'll show you exactly why if you forgot that. But that's really what you're looking at on these to see if it's going to break out. This kind of shows you if money's truly flowing in here. And when you look at Taiwan Semiconductors, like this is another one. I mean, this right here, I don't know if we're going to get a handle on this thing, but it looks like, I mean, kind of like a cup and a handle in a way, a very ugly one. But you can see it broke above this right here, a decent level, but 207.47. Obviously, it was a brick wall for it. And so it started selling back down, left a gap below. So do we come back down, fill that gap, maybe with a handle or something? You know, that's what we got to see on Taiwan Semiconductors. And it's important to watch these because if that breaks up, if AVGO breaks 232, if Nvidia breaks 140, then you're going to see SMH go crazy because why? Nvidia 23%, Taiwan Semiconductors 13%, Broadcom, which is AVGO 7.5%, AMD 4.4%, 34, 42, what is that, like 45% right there on 4 stocks. You know, SOX is different though. SOX has different weights for these. And you can see 3 rejections at the 200 moving average, rejected that trend line plus the 50 and the 100. This is one I told you about, has all kinds of resistance up above it, and it's differently weighted, okay? So it's not like SMH. SMH has a much better chance of moving up, all right? So hopefully that helps out. And we'll see if we continue to get a rotation. But I do find it funny that IWM selling down, and all of a sudden, you know, the semiconductors are getting love, right? That money's rotating somewhere, okay? And it seems like that's where it's going. Stocks led by a country mile today. You didn't really see Microsoft doing anything. You didn't see Apple doing anything. Google was pretty good today. I didn't even look at Meta. Was Meta good? I think it was good. You know, but again, that's not a surprise. It's going to rotate somewhere because when semis were struggling, what was going up? IWM, right? And then the 10-year started flipping, and boom, there we go. And so we'll see if this is going to continue. Really, I'm looking at more in January if it's going to continue or not. But, you know, when you look at data tomorrow, remember it's a shortened day. We close at 1 p.m. You got core durable goods, all your orders, new home sales, and then Richmond Fed manufacturing, which I'm expecting to be absolutely horrible because all the rest of them have been. We'll close on Christmas. Happy holidays again. And then, of course, you'll have more data coming out on Thursday and Friday. And if you want to see the 10-year yield go down, then you want to see weaker data, not stronger data. May be able to push that down. So anyway, hope you guys got some out of it. Please hit that like, subscribe button if you did. Think about signing up for the membership. Less than McDonald's combo. That's everything you get with it. And I really, really, truly, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate all you guys and hope you have a great holidays. Please be safe, and I'll see you Thursday.